For those of you who fear public speaking more than swimming, more than skydiving, more than death, I'm going to give you some surefire tips that will help you feel more at ease, more confident, and if you can put them into play, you will deliver an effective speech that will evoke or stir up strong emotions in your audience. Welcome, one and all, to our little video here. My name is Kevin. I am an English teacher and writer who is very thrilled about sharing all my best study tips with you. If you are new to the channel, give it a like, follow, subscribe. All of that goodness is greatly appreciated. For many people, standing up in front of any crowd, whether it be a cafe, a classroom, an auditorium, can be a daunting and quite intimidating experience. Today, I want to help give you a frame of mind and attitude that does not promote or help your fear to grow, but rather allows you to see speech making as an opportunity to deliver your most important points and to connect with your audience. Our study goal today will be to use the tips in this little video in order to deliver, to write, and deliver a successful speech. Wonderful. Let's get right into our key study tips. Number one, we are going to gain an understanding of ethos, pathos, and logos, and we will get into those. Second, know your audience. I'll give you a few things that will help you to shape your speech in order to have the most impact on your particular audience. And finally, it may sound quite obvious, but we're going to train and practice our speech making skills so that we are completely speaking and not reading. Understanding ethos, pathos, and logos goes way back. And this technique is an oldie, but definitely a goodie. We're talking about Aristotle's methods of rhetoric that are almost 2,500 years old, yet they are completely relevant today because anyone whatsoever, it could be your pastor, it could be your parents, teachers, your friend, anyone who is trying to convince or persuade another person of anything will be using ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos means persuading your audience to trust you through morals or character. So we can use our own experience, our own morals, our own values to gain the trust of our audience. For example, you might say, I have 7 children. And I can tell you from personal experience that yelling at kids is not an effective way to teach them. Pathos is persuading your audience by making them feel empathy or sympathy. If you're stirring up the emotions and feelings of your audience, this connects to pathos. You could say, it's important to donate money to the homeless, or else they may starve or freeze to death during the long cold winter. Finally, but not least, especially if you're a businessman or woman, logos is the art of persuasion by using logic or facts. For example, the fast fashion industry is destroying the environment by creating 92 million tons of textile waste annually. Now that we know the basics of ethos, pathos, and logos, let's take them and apply them to a speech topic. For instance, if you were writing a speech on maybe your favorite winter sport, which could be skiing, we might use ethos by saying, I grew up going downhill skiing with my family and have always found it to be an ideal way for us to keep fit and enjoy the beauty of nature. We might use pathos by saying, whether you are getting air or just speeding down the hill, skiing is a real adrenaline rush. It gets the heart pounding and the blood pumping. Can you feel it? We might use logos by saying, my hometown has the best rated ski resort in the province with over 34 hills. Moving onward and upwards, study tip number 2 is to know your audience. We're going to break that down into 3 little subcategories. Number 1 is to decide which is the most effective method of rhetoric, ethos, pathos, or logos, depending on your audience. Secondly, we want to choose a suitable tone. One example of choosing ethos, pathos, or logos according to whom we are speaking is using logos for meetings, especially business meetings when the bottom line is always money. In this case, logos is extremely effective because we are dealing with statistics, information, and numbers. Secondly, knowing your audience means choosing a tone that is suitable. The tone of your speech, just like the tone of your writing, can come in many forms. It may be funny, serious, heartfelt. You may be protesting or calling for affirmative action and a call for action. It may be self-depreciating where you're making fun of yourself. Or it could be a combination of some of these different kinds of tones mixed together. For our example here, we're going to say the speech topic is my future dreams, a wonderful common topic that gives us hope and inspiration. And we'll keep it simple as well by saying that your audience in this particular case is your fellow classmates and your teacher. What I would encourage you to do if I were approaching this topic, I would use humorous and inspiring anecdotes, which are short little stories about your own personal experiences. By doing so, you're using both ethos and pathos. Secondly, I would talk about some steps that you need to take to reach your goals, as well as some skills that must be acquired along the way. So, by looking at this experience that is necessary to make your dreams become reality, we are looking at logos. Finally, I would talk about a desire to make a meaningful contribution to life. So, your future dream or your job is not simply about making the bling bling, it's about doing something that you are passionate about, maybe something that helps others or makes the world a better place. Um, and by doing so, again, you're leaning on pathos. You're tugging on the heartstrings and emotions of people by touching them, talking about feelings and how we can make the world better one step or one individual at a time. Regarding tones, if we take all the things we just talked about, the tones that we are using vary. We are looking at humor. We are taking an inspiring tone that is also positive and optimistic. We're at the same time we're being realistic and logical. because we're looking at steps, we're looking at experience. We may look at some challenges along the way. Um, and at the same time, we are being passionate and heartfelt, which are all good things. If you're never sure what tone to use, you can just be real. Speak from the heart, be honest, be extreme, whether you love it or hate it, but just be natural and optimistic. No one wants to listen to anyone else complain. We want to look at life as though there are no problems, only solutions. Our final study tip is to speak, don't read. You may be thinking, Kevin, of course, it's a speaking contest, it's a speech. Why would I be reading? Well, let me show you. Speak, don't read is all about your preparation. So you need to make cue cards, which are small little cards that have your most important points and vocabulary. The second thing you need to do is to practice making your points with no cards, not looking at anything, but knowing your points off by heart, and feeling strongly about them naturally. Finally, if you can do those things, you will be speaking outward. Outward, not downward like this because you're looking at something and trying to remember it. These are the key differences between speaking and reading, and they are absolutely vital in delivering a successful speech. So let's delve a little bit into the details of your cue cards. Your key points, you are going to write your speech, of course, write it out in complete sentences, and basically you're going to summarize it, break it down into key points. You're probably just making two or three most important points in your speech. And what is the key vocabulary that goes along with those points? Take those and write them out on the cards. Remember that you are memorizing points, not sentences. And it's important to keep that in mind because if you're just trying to memorize sentences and you forget, then you will be completely lost. Focus on those points. The second thing you can do while you're preparing for your speech is to practice actually making the points without the cards. Do them first with the cards. Um, Again, think about you're giving your points, have your best examples that are clear and simple, and your reasoning. Um, you should practice by recording yourself. And when you review the recording, it will be very easily to see when you ah, when you pause, and you can hear the crickets going off in the background of the dead air. Um, when you go off topic, all of these things will be really, really clear to you if you record it and play it back. So it's a really effective way to help you check out your fluency and how well you stay on topic when you are trying to memorize and deliver those key points. Last, but certainly not least, we want to speak outward and not downward. If you have memorized your main points, you're not trying to read sentences, then this should be obvious. But I want to say one more thing, and that is in regards to whom you are speaking. You have a big audience out there, and maybe a little audience out there. There are faces. Um, you don't need to make eye contact with individuals. You could pick a point that you're kind of just looking straight out to. Could be a picture on the wall, could be a lighting fixture, whatever. Do not make eye contact with certain individuals because if you get locked into looking at certain individuals, you will lose your focus and go off topic. When you're looking at your cue cards, only glance down to make sure that you are not forgetting any important points or keywords. That is what your speech is all about. Finally, When you're speaking outwards, be passionate, be confident about the points that you are making. A speech or presentation or report, any kind of public speaking endeavor is simply an opportunity for you to share your thoughts, your feelings with other people. Make the most of that opportunity. Fear is the mind killer. You want to adopt an attitude where you are confident and passionate about these points. One last thing to keep in mind: believe in yourself and the importance of what you have to say. If you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. A lot of your fear is about making mistakes. You're worried about what other people think. I have to tell you this: your audience is not your friend. You may have friends out there, but your audience, this group of people that are listening to your speech, they are not your friends, nor are they your enemies. It is a room of people who are simply waiting to hear your message. Make your best points in as few words as possible. Brevity is key. This wraps up our little video on successful public speech making, whether you're doing it for academics, for business, or for any other public event in life. Making public speeches is a wonderful, wonderful exercise to help move people, change the way people think, change their actions. And it's also a great way for you to just practice being confident and delivering your speech in an effective way. For your daily exercise, take all the tips that we have practiced today. Be aware of ethos, pathos, and logos. Get the proper tone to reach your audience. And practice writing your cue cards and delivering your points in a way that you are speaking and not reading. I hope this video has been beneficial to you. If so, hit me back with any of your comments. If you have a speech contest coming up, I'd love to hear your topics, and I'd love to hear how you are trying to put these study tips into play so that you can craft an effective speech. We'll see you again very soon. Stay in good spirits and health. Take care.